Welcome, Solara here. I hope you guys are doing well today. I am actually doing this in a blackout format because I am presently traveling. So just a heads up. So I apologize for those of you who are used to seeing my face, but for today you will not. Okay, so I hope you guys are doing well. This is your full moon in Leo Tarot-Astrology Ascension Report. I'm going to keep it 100 with you. I'm really tired right now. I'm sure many of you are too. So I'm going to keep this reading short. I'm going to keep the report today pretty short. And I'm just going to get to the point of what it is I'm being shown. So I hope that you guys are doing well. Welcome if you're visiting for the first time. Like I said, my name is Solara. I do not do readings, utilizing the rules of traditional astrology. I've created my own system that I call TAROTSTROLOGY, where I read astro charts utilizing the power of tarot, numerology, as well as channeled messages. I do channel the planets. So, that's it. Let's get stuck in and talk about what's going on today. So as I begin recording, it's almost 7 o'clock in the evening, my time, and the full moon in Leo occurred today in the UK right before 2 o'clock. So we're about 5 hours into this full moon. And the full moon today, it is in Leo, astrologically speaking, right? And it occurred at 24 degrees. And I think this is 4 or 5 full moons that have been occurring at that degree. And the last one will be the full moon in Virgo. So right now, today's full moon in Leo, we are also dealing with a lot of Piscean energy and themes. So Saturn and Neptune are in Pisces. The North Node now is officially in Pisces. And then we're also dealing with the Sun in Aquarius and the Moon in Leo at 24 degrees. And 24, of course, is a Piscean degree. So a lot of Piscean wisdom is underscoring the energy of today's, I think it's a wolf moon. So like I said before, I'm kind of tired, and I'm sure you're tired too. And there's a reason for that, or maybe you're not. We're all responding to this in different ways, but many people I've been speaking to recently have been dealing with a lot of fatigue around these energies and activations that have been coming in, because they're coming in very rapidly right now. A lot of rapid timeline shifts are occurring as we come back in correct alignment with how the earth should be. And I will be getting into more about that. I've had a weekend of intense activations and downloads, and I will be sharing that on my other channel, Solara Speaks. So stay tuned for a video about that soon. But today we're going to focus on what this means for us in terms of the full moon energies. So whenever you're dealing with a very powerful, Cancer, Leo, Virgo energy, we are dealing with the emotional body. Okay, and so we've already gone through the full moon in Cancer. Today is the full moon in Leo, and then in a month's time we will have the full moon in Virgo. And the full moon in Virgo tends to bring with it this very powerful, what I like to call a death portal. It's where a lot of timelines that are no longer functional on the earth planes go to die. So as we move up into the full moon in Virgo, it's always a very intense time of the year, and the full moons have a different quality to them, these 3 full moons, than other full moons, in my opinion. Of course, you're going to experience that intensity in accordance with your own personal energy signature, what it is you're going through, whether you have a lot of Cancer, Leo, Virgo placements. All of that is going to have a huge effect on you. But what it feels like is occurring right now in preparation for the full moon in Virgo is that there is a big dismantling of what I want to call corrupted timelines. And we've all been living in corrupted timelines from the time that the false matrix came into being. Because in order for the false matrix to exist, they had to corrupt how timelines actually were originally designed to work in our favor. And a lot of those corrupted technologies, along with the fake timelines and realities, situations that were built off of these corrupted energies, a lot of that is leaving. It's leaving us on an individual level. It's leaving the earth. We're seeing it play out a lot on the global stage, and even more importantly, it is leaving. It's leaving the grids. So the original structure of what the Earth's grids were supposed to look like are coming back on board. And again, the grids of the Earth are connected to your emotional body. That's what determines the frequency of the Earth. So whenever you're dealing with this heavy Cancer, Leo, and Virgo energy, you are dealing with the emotional body as it pertains to the grids of the Earth, and how the grids of the Earth determine the frequency. The collective frequency of the planet is determined by our overall emotional output, which is why they had what we often hear as a looshing system on this planet, where they used to harvest our trauma, harvest our fear, harvest our pain, harvest our struggling, and harvest our suffering. And the whole point of that was to keep the Earth at a lower frequency in order that they could continue doing that. So what it feels like is clearing from the Earth through this full moon in Leo. It began in full moon in Cancer. It's reaching a pinnacle through the full moon in Virgo, is a lot of the timelines that are corrupted, that have become corrupted because of all of their looshing endeavors, all of their endeavors to pull us in lower emotional states in order to fuck with our realities. Now, the sun is in Aquarius at 24 degrees and the moon is in Leo at 24 degrees. So let's take a look at what that is in terms of the tarot. Now, the sun in Aquarius at 24 degrees, that is the sun card in the tarot. That is the star. That is the Fool to a lesser extent. And that is also the Seven of Swords. So this is, the sun is here to illuminate our way into a higher state of divine alignment by being willing to take leaps of faith towards our destiny, irregardless as to how things might appear, or irregardless as to the trickery, the smoke screens and mirrors that other energies from the older timelines would seek to continue to try to get us stuck in. So, there's a lot of fuckery that's still going on right now. It's not sticking. It can't, it's actually pushing us faster into, where it is we need to be in alignment. It's not weighing us down so much as, even when it does pull us down a little bit, it does so only to kind of, propel us forward very quickly right now too. So a lot of the fuckery that's occurring, it's just not sticking, but that doesn't mean it's still not happening, because folk are desperate. The powers that were the ones that are connected to the old world systems, where they were benefiting from our pain and our struggle, and the looshing systems that were designed to keep us in these lower timelines. A lot of beings were benefiting from our suffering, and as the world comes back into a balance that is actually beneficial for all life forms, in accordance with the choices, of course, that we make. As that occurs, a lot of these beings are still holding on for dear life and trying to do all manner of things in order to prevent the inevitable. And this is what the Seven of Swords really kind of, it deals with. It deals with the energy of a being or beings that seek to kind of stall the light body, because we're dealing with Chariot energy, stall us and to keep us from moving forward. And they do so through trickery, deception, and thievery. So those are very real themes. But I want to also, cast your mind back to the new moon in Leo, which occurred on August the 4th of 2024. I want you to think back to how your timelines were playing out around that time too, because a lot of those stories and scenarios are closing out with today's full moon in Leo also. And what I remember about that time is that I was getting a lot of downloads about justice timelines coming in. And what I also remember around that time was how much the fuckery, the intensity of the fuckery picked up a great deal through that new moon in Leo, which occurred 4 days before the 888 portal, and a couple of days before Mercury went retrograde for the third time of the year last year. And so there was a lot of timeline fuckery that occurred by way of, messing around with that new moon in Leo energy. But again, like I said, all that they try to do at this point is just activating us faster into where it is we need to go. So as they try to pull us into lower timelines, they're actually speeding us up and putting us faster into alignment with our truth, for as long as we are not falling into stories that support their looshing, right? That support their ability to provoke suffering in us. So I want you to remember here that when you're dealing with Leo energy, the new moon in Leo specifically, you are dealing with the solar return that occurs for the collective. Now, we all have our individual solar returns when we are born, and then we have the collective energy. The solar return happens when the sun enters into Leo and the moon is new in Leo. And, also the 888 portal is a commemoration of that solar return too, which is why the codes that come in are so potent around that portal. So through this full moon in Leo, the reason, if you're feeling tired like me, then a lot of what is happening right now beyond just the fuckery is also the activation of those codes following a 6-month period of integration or maturation. And within that 6-month period of integration and maturation, it oftentimes is like this huge shit show where a lot of the energy harvesting calendar of the false matrix kicks up, because during the month of August, when these 88 codes enter, they want you somewhat relaxed so that you're in receiving mode, so that you're able to draw in those codes, but they don't want you holding on to them. So, the minute that the sun begins to enter into Virgo, and oftentimes before, you start to get, collectively, globally pushed into the programs that are designed to kick up your levels of stress until you reach the solstice window in December, which is like the pinnacle point of capturing your solar codes, especially through a lot of the rituals that they promote during the year, like the Christmas season and all of that, which I won't get too deep into how all of this works, but by the time you get to the full moon in Leo, most people have lost all of their codes to the false matrices, programs of with the energy harvesting that's designed to take you into lower states. Now, if you didn't lose your codes, and please bear in mind, I'm not here to put fear in anyone. That's not how my guides work. And I want you to also know that a lot of what it is we've been going through has been to facilitate our ability to hold on to our codes, even in spite of our ability to hold the necessary frequency, until we're able to remember how to do that for ourselves again. So in other words, we've been gifted as we wake up and remember how all of this works, we've been gifted a lot of grace, a grace period where we're heavily supported and heavily protected. And even today's moon in Leo is kind of speaking to me about that, because when you break down the tarot for that, that would be the moon card, the sun, the strength card, and the Seven of Wands. So the Seven of Wands is all about the protection of our codes. So the 888 portal happens in the second decan of Leo, right? And the second decan of Leo in the tarot, it is the Six of Wands. So the Six of Wands card is the card that speaks of the receipt of our codes. It speaks about the solar return, the codes that we need to align ourselves with who we are, our purpose, what it is we've been allotted for another year around the sun. We get our own personal codes through our own individual solar returns, and then we also get collective codes that are also connected to our personal solar codes. And that happens through the 8-8 portal. So by the time we get from the Six of Wands, where the 8-8 portal occurs, to the Seven of Wands, it's now all about protecting the codes. And what are you protecting them against? Well, you only have to protect against something that would seek to take. And so the tarot shows you very, very clearly how all of this works also. So today's moon is in the Seven of Wands. So I am really feeling like we have a lot of galactic support right now in protecting, and not just showing up today, but that has been showing up throughout this process. And again, like the Seven of Swords, sneaky behavior that other beings pulling the wool over our eyes in order to steal from us. Once upon a time, it was like taking candy from a baby, but it's not anymore, because it's becoming clearer to us how these things are happening and have been happening to us, and also the key players in all of this thievery. That's all coming to the fore right now in very clear ways too, for us on a personal level as well as on a global level. This, the full moon is always an energy of revelation. It's where things that have been hidden in the dark begin to come to the light and, magnified by that power. And then when you're dealing with the moon in Leo, because you're dealing with the moon in solar energy, the power of illumination becomes that much stronger and more powerful. So a very, very, revelatory time this full moon has been getting us ready for. Okay, so the revelations, I'm sure, have already been pouring in, but this is just the beginning. Okay, and the revelations that are coming are gonna have to do a lot with the age of Pisces agendas too, with this 24-degree mark. And if you break down 24, again, it breaks into 6. So that's 6-6 energy. So when you're dealing with 6-6 energy, you're dealing with certain alignment of, I like to say they're the alignment of feminine energies, in my opinion. Both 66 and 69, the way my guides speak to me, those are both divine feminine alignment energies. 69 more to do with the divine feminine energies that are here to stabilize the grids and the dragon energies of the earth. And 66 more to do with the balancing of energies that allow for divine contracts to be to come into fruition also, right? So that's another thing. We're in a time where a lot of union codes that have already been streaming into the planet are actually now in full activation, meaning that a lot of you are going into really deep states of inner union that is facilitating the ability for you to come into union externally too with other things. So for one thing, it could be romantically, platonically, business-wise, contracts, things that are in correct alignment with your actual purpose. You're coming back into union with on the earth planes, because these union codes have been properly activated and matured in you also, to put you into a deeper place of cohesion and also a deeper sense of loyalty to self, whereby you are following your own heart, irregardless as to how that might look or the risk you have to take. And what else was coming through just now with these union codes? Oh, and also a lot of recalibration of the solar plexus and the heart chakra in order to, a lot of recalibration of the solar plexus and the heart chakra in alignment with the decision to choose self, the decision to be loyal, the decision to follow one's heart. And that aligns the solar plexus and the heart chakra now with your true divine blueprint and your ability to materialize it on the earth planes, and to also project onto the earth who you actually are through your heart. Okay, so Mercury is in Aquarius at 26 degrees. So that would be the Magician. Again, that would be the Star, the Fool to a lesser extent. 26 degrees is a degree of Taurus. So this again is speaking about the alignment of the alignment that is necessary to re-access certain gifts within your energy field. And I feel like a lot of what's going on right now through these planetary energies, it's facilitating our ability to remember how we actually work on an interdimensional level. And this is partly what Mercury is speaking to us today. And, you know, the Taurus degree, the Taurus energy, Taurus has to do with our endowment. What it is that we are gifted in accordance with who we are by the Divine Mother. And when I say who we are, I mean who we are in terms of, you know, our cosmological truth, but also the resources we've accrued over time based upon the soul wisdom we have earned by doing the work. So, you know, the more that we choose to rise higher, to ascend, to evolve closer to the truth of our source emanation, the more we unlock in terms of the giftings and the power that such healing and soul education opens us up to. And all of us shut down. We shut down our own gifts. Our gifts were shut down, absolutely, but we also learned to shut them down unconsciously in order to protect ourselves, because once upon a time it wasn't safe to be who you are on the planet because of the energy harvesting schemes. And it feels like, especially since last month's full moon in Cancer, there's a certain level of safety that is returning to the earth. And I know it might not feel like that yet materially, but that's not where you're going to feel it first. You're actually going to feel it internally first. There will be a higher level of feeling secure in yourself, in who you are, in the decisions you make, in following your purpose, even when it calls for you to completely go against the grain of everything you've been taught is the right thing or the safe thing to do and to be. And so, there is this, activating of gifts an illumination of gifts that is coming back online through this full moon in Leo. Okay, and I feel like that's what the Mercury energy is also alluding to at this time. So Venus in Aries, Venus has moved out of Pisces since the new moon in Aquarius and now is in Aries at the 5-degree mark. And when Venus moves into Aries, things begin to pick up on the earth planes. The manifestation or the creation and the co-creation of certain things begin to pick up. So like I said before, there's a lot of union codes coming in that are aligning us externally with opportunities as we come into internal harmony. And Venus is also assisting in pushing that along quite quickly, quite fiercely, let's say. So Venus in Aries at 5 degrees, Venus would be the Empress, Aries is the Emperor. The Fool, again, is Aries energy to a lesser extent. And then the 5 degrees of Aries is the Two of Wands. And even as I was doing some writing on my other platform, on solara.xyz, over the past few days, this Two of Wands energy has been coming out. Two of Wands, Ace of Wands, Page of Wands. And this all speaks about a new spiritual story, or a new story that's beginning to unroll or unravel etherically, making its way to us and through us in order to be materialized. It's source code. Whenever you're dealing with wands energy or fire, you're dealing with light codes, God code coming forth. So it feels like there's new God code entering the earth planes, and it's entering now because it can, because the more that we've healed on this ascension, the more we've remembered who we are, and we've been able to plug ourselves back in more powerfully to source energy and to pull in codes onto the earth planes that are helping the earth to also come back into harmony with herself, right? So all of this is a collaborative effort. And so with this Venus in Aries at 5 degrees, this is definitely the shifting of the systems out of these suffering storylines and in higher alignment with source code and also divine feminine principles when you think about it. And the source code, source wants you to thrive, wants you to create more beauty, because in the creation of more beauty, everything becomes more harmonious. And it feels like there is another blow to, the grind and the hustle culture and the abusive culture of the false matrix, where we were constantly having to suffer just to be here, suffer to survive, when that's not really how it was supposed to be. And this is very specifically coming against the systems of the false matrix, but also anywhere where we are still aligning with how those systems taught us to harm ourselves in order to get along. So it feels like Venus in Aries is speaking very strongly through this full moon about, returning to source state, returning to, like I was saying in the new moon in Aquarius, it was all about the return to the cosmic love story. And it feels like this Venus in Aries is like striking the match to make that possible. And of course, the cosmic love story isn't about, your relationship with others. It's about your relationship with self and source, and then how that emanates out into the world and touches everything and everyone that you come into contact with, which is how it was always, supposed to be. So it feels like Venus in Aries is bringing the fire that is here to activate and bring forth this, more source code that brings alignment with systems that promote our harmony in all ways, spiritually, mentally, emotionally, and materially. There's a lot of shifting that's going forth right now to make way for the new earth financial system, for the new money system, for the new ways that we are here to actually relate to money and to relate to finances. And that a lot of that has to do first and foremost with how we relate to self, because I've said it before and I've said it again, our financial system is always going to be based upon our value system, what we value. And in the false matrix, we were taught to have a corrupt value system. We were taught to put things before our own health, before love, before other people's safety. We were taught to live and exist in ways where we were constantly having to, be put in compromising positions on both personal and social levels just to be able to survive. And that's not how it ever was supposed to be. And so, a whole financial and value system was formed off of that. And now we have been returning to a newer and a truer value system, where the highest currency is, which it always has been, it's always been our souls. The highest currency has always really been our souls, but they've been exploiting that. Whereas now we're going to learn how to utilize the power of our soul energy in currency in ways that build self and one another up and harmonize the earth again and bring back true love templates onto the earth plane. So all of this is kind of, making way for that to be possible. So there's a lot going on right now, whether we're aware of it or not. We're hearing about some of it, but there's a lot going on behind the scenes also in order to bring forth this new earth financial system. Now, Mars in Cancer, it's still retrograding until I think the 23rd or the 24th of February. So Mars will be stationing to go direct a couple of days before the moon becomes new in Pisces in 2 weeks. So right now, Mars is at the 17-degree mark. And it's interesting because, let me just take a look here. I want to say that I was under the impression that when Mars went direct, it would still be at 17 degrees, but that doesn't seem right anymore. Oh no, this is very interesting. Mars has retrograded to 17 degrees, and when it stations to go direct, it will still be at 17 degrees. So this is really interesting because it means that Mars is holding this 17 degree placement for 2 weeks. And literally a week ago, Mars was at 19 degrees. On the 5th of February, Mars was at 19 degrees Cancer. And 1 week later, on the 12th of February, it's at the 17 degree mark. And now it's going to hold that position of the 17 degree mark for 2 weeks. That's crazy. If this chart is right, that's absolutely crazy that it would hold that degree for 2 weeks. And let me tell you what's really interesting about that also is that the 17 degree mark is astrologically a degree of Leo. But in terms of tarot, 17 connects to the star card, which is Aquarian. So Mars is holding itself at this degree that is both a Leo and an Aquarian energy. The two signs of the zodiac, the sister signs that are both of the golden ages. The age of Leo was the last golden age, and we are now in the age of Aquarius, which is the new golden age. And right now we've got the sun in Aquarius and the moon in Leo, and we've got Mars holding itself at this degree. And it's holding itself at this degree in Cancer. And Cancer is the sign of the zodiac that is connected with the grids of the earth, the dragon lines, which is showing me here that we are undergoing a complete resetting of the grid system through this 2-week window up until the new moon in Pisces, while Mars is holding this retrograde period at this 1 degree of Cancer. It's 17 degrees of Cancer, but I'm saying this it's not moving any farther. It's going to stay in the 17 degree and move very slowly over the next 2 weeks. That's crazy. That's crazy. So we've already been going through this like monumental reshuffling of timelines. And like, I don't know whether I've already said it. I'm getting a little bit confused because I have a reading that I'm getting ready to put out on my other channel where I go into, depth about this. But the corrupted timelines that allowed for the fuckery of the old world, it's dying. I think I did talk about it when I spoke about that full moon in Virgo energy, and this Mars in Cancer at 17 degrees. It's like holding the grid space for that to be possible. Now, in case you're not aware, like, the grids of the earth are connected in so many ways, but one way the grids were designed originally was to be in alignment with the moon cycles, right? So the moon has been used to harvest us, but that's not the moon's original design. So the moon, when she moves into her fullness like today, she's connected to these portals in the grids of the earth that open up to clear out older densities and energies and timelines that don't need to exist here anymore, because their existence would keep us in like looping through trauma stories that we don't need to be looping through anymore. And so there was this mechanism where every month on the full moon, those portals would open to clear out these dense emotional residues that are a product of us living here and learning together and, creating and miscreating at times. So the false matrix shut down those portals in order to make sure that we stayed in karmic loops and to make sure that those trauma stories and timelines couldn't leave the earth. And it feels like what's happening through this Mars in Cancer at 17 degrees retrograding and holding this place for 2 weeks is that there is a full the grids are returning to their proper their true earth operations. Like, we've been working towards getting to this place, and it feels like we're arriving back to the ability for the grids to be properly functional as they were supposed to operate in order to keep us in harmonious timelines again on the earth planes. And in other words, not to keep us cycling and circling through trauma. We are emotional beings, but we're not supposed to hold on to trauma in our fields. When we hold on to trauma in our fields, it gets stuck and locked in our emotional bodies, and our emotions are what drive our light bodies, which is why one of the reasons they wanted us traumatized in the false matrix was to stall us so that we wouldn't be able to utilize our light bodies to go to places they didn't want us going to interdimensionally and coming back onto the earth plane. So they closed down a lot of our stargates and portals, as well as the portals that helped to flush the earth of the densities that would help us to stay clear of those traumas so that our light bodies would function. And so it feels like there's like a complete maybe regeneration of the true operational system of the grid lines. That's what it feels like. And so to go into this energy, Mars is the Tower, Cancer is the Chariot, which has to do with your light body, and the 17-degree mark is the Three of Cups. It's the Three of Cups. So this is where also where we've been denied access to certain source codes. Access that we needed to certain source codes in order for the grids to work properly. This is where this shift is coming into. Very interesting. Okay, so Jupiter in Gemini at 11 degrees. So since the new moon in Aquarius, Jupiter also has come out of retrograde and, came out of retrograde at the 11-degree mark of Gemini and is still moving through this 11-degree mark of Gemini. And whenever we're dealing with 11 degrees, for one thing, 11 is an Aquarian degree, right? But 11 is a master number. It's a master degree that connects us to specific gateways and ports that need to be opened. And so Jupiter, and it's in accordance with the energy. So Jupiter in Gemini, this is speaking very specifically about the gates, the ports, however you want to look at it, that were purposely shut down on the earth planes to facilitate the mind control programming they needed us adhering to keep us under their control. Okay, so the 11-degree mark of Gemini, it is the Nine of Swords. So whenever you're dealing with Gemini energy, you are dealing with, the mind, amongst many things. One thing you're dealing with are the mind control programs that were implemented in the false matrix to keep us in lower realities and to keep us, traumatized, re-traumatizing ourselves and unable to properly process it, but to literally have our minds programmed against our hearts. That's what they wanted to do to us in the false matrix. And there's something very specific that's been occurring over the past few days. I've been feeling it on the left hand side of the brain, the left eye. Okay, so there's some kind of configurations and how that connects to the pineal gland as well as the entirety of the glandular system. There's been a clearing that's been happening, an activation. I've been talking about also how a lot of the etheric implants that they had running in our energy fields to keep us stalled also are failing. They're no longer working anymore. Their technologies, in other words, to keep us under their control are failing. And this Jupiter in Gemini at 11 degrees is facilitating the failure of all of those technologies and strategies. And the Mars in Cancer at 7, holding this place at 17 degrees, as well as we move into the full moon in Virgo, which is also eclipse season, is helping to clear these things out of the earth, to clear them out of the grids, to clear them out of the earth through the grids, so that these energies can be recycled and restored into, the truth of what it is that they're actually supposed to do. In other words, neutralize, because there's a lot of 0 point energy that's been coming through recently also. And so that's what I'm feeling with this Jupiter in Gemini. And in doing this, it's also this is again about a timeline reset. It's about a timeline reset. So Jupiter in the tarot is the Wheel of Fortune. Gemini is the Lovers as well as the Magician. And like I said before, the 11 degrees is the 9 of Swords. So this is a timeline reset that has very much to do with union codes, like I was saying before. So Jupiter is assisting in bringing forth union codes that are also here to break apart a lot of the mind control technologies that have been, that made the false matrix possible. And I would say on all levels, systemically, environmentally, all the way down to how they had like etheric implants in our energy field, that they were using to control us. Like all of these things, for as long as we are rising in frequency and utilizing the power of these energies to rise, they're falling off of us now. Okay, so I said I was going to keep it short. I think I'm going to end here. I have a group Q&A coming up this Saturday, the 15th of February from 12 to 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It's a small group. I'm trying to keep them pretty small. So for those of you who need extra ascension report, who would like a card pulled, some channeled guidance, as well as to be in a group setting, then please, go ahead and book your ticket. I will put all that information in the description box below. So it's happening Saturday, the 15th of February, group Q&A with me. From 12 to 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time or 5 to 8 p.m. UK time. I have just restocked my Ko-Fi shop with new audio decrees, and those again are free or by suggested donation. So if you would like to have some of the decrees I've written in audio format, then they're available now there too. I find them to be very useful for like days like today, like when you're just really fucking tired and you want to do decree work but you don't want to speak. You could just play it in the background. Sometimes I just put decrees on loops, not even these ones that I create for the collective, but I create personal decrees and subliminals, and I just put them on loop because this Jupiter and Gemini at 11 degrees is also helping us to reprogram our minds back into the true divine settings that work in accordance with who we actually are and our purpose and what we endeavor to do through that on the planet at this time. So that's available. Also, if you'd like to join me on solara.xyz, you can do so for daily updates, daily guidance, as well as different tiers you can join. There's free content, and then you can also join different tiers, and there are other options available there too, in terms of what you can access, longer form articles, audio format articles, monthly group Q&A if you're a Jade member. So you can check that out on solara.xyz. If you would like to donate to my channel and to my Ascension and Rising, you can do so through the payment links in the description box below. You can do so either through Ko-Fi, through PayPal directly, or through the links on my site, solara.xyz. If you would like to book your own Tarotstrology reading, please email me directly for that, solaraspeaks@proton.me. Please be aware I am no longer doing Tarotstrology written reports. I've got 2 more to write, and then I'm done. I'm done. It's just become too much. And what I would need to charge people in order for the sheer energy I put into writing these reports, which are literally like mini books, it just doesn't seem economical. So I'm not writing them anymore. But if you would like a reading, an audio video, or a one-to-one Tarotstrology reading, you can still book, but I need you to please email me, solaraspeaks@proton.me. But I wish you a beautiful full moon in Leo. Please stay tuned and check me out on Solara Speaks, because I will be uploading a new video of downloads very shortly, and it's quite a comprehensive one. So I will see you guys again soon. Happy full moon.